So let me give you an example, Sushit. So if
Okay.
a 19-year-old guy
Uh-huh.
from Kolkata,
Uh-huh.
who believes in I would say the fourth wave of feminism and equality among everyone, and is like a modern, what do you say, modern metropolitan, right?
ये
And
तो बहुत ही
post
स्पेसिफिक
on social
बहुत
एग्जांपल
media.
है.
specific.
नाम भी
Yeah,
बता दे
but it's
आयुष.
not as specific. It's not as specific, Manas. You would be surprised how many people are falling in that.
Okay.
Okay, like you know what I mean. Like he plays a bit of all the stuff here and there.
Right, 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 right.
He's on. Yeah, so what are you going to talk to him about? Like he comes to you and says, "I don't enjoy video gaming anymore." What are you going to do with him? Like what's the advice you're going to give?
Maybe something completely opposite to what he's something like Duke Nukem or Postal. Maybe that might help him getting back to the groove. But that's not what I'm talking about. Usually, it's even about genres. Certain times, what happens is that I am not like favorable to a particular genre, and I might not be able to recommend anything in that. Like for example, I think in
Mhm,
like in sports and racing, I burnt out of
mhm,
racing quite a long time back, and
mhm,
I don't
mhm,
have any good recommendation for sports and racing games. So people who
mhm.
are interested in that, I don't have any recommendations
But
for them.
if someone is asking you that if someone is asking you for recommendation because he's burnt out and you ask him what genre he liked and he says sports and racing, then do you really want to suggest any new sports and racing game to him?
I would definitely say that it's time that you might left those genres behind and moved on
Mm.
to something
And
better.
try Steep.
Yeah. uh,
Steep. Wait, you
But
said steep.
Steep,
yeah, yeah.
like that's a racing game, no? So sports and
Ubisoft
racing.
game comes to the rescue. अरे racing is like an Olympic वाला game ना.
सब कुछ है
Extreme
उसमें, सब कुछ,
sports.
whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that's a good one ऐसे sports fan को recommend करने के लिए.
Okay,
Yeah.
Manas. So now to you, a 32-year-old gamer who had been playing Counter-Strike Go in his Counter-Strike Condition Zero while he was growing up. Then he played lots of RPGs in the early 2000s, right? And now he is like tired of video games and he's not able to find the same fun. What do you do with him? Like what advice do you give him?
Actually, this has happened कि people were asking like अब मुझे मज़ा नहीं आता खेलने में, and I have felt this
Mhm,
personally also कि ना like मुझे लगता है what has helped me and what of
mhm,
course कोई भी recommendation is not for everybody, but what has helped me is कि कभी कभी मुझे लगता है when I say ना कि यार कुछ खेलने में मज़ा नहीं आ रहा, like I'm try but I'm playing a lot, मुझे लगता है even when I've heard this complaint people are
mhm,
saying कि उन्हें खेलने में मज़ा नहीं आ रहा, but that is the only thing that they've enjoyed doing for a long time and they keep doing it, but this time they're no longer enjoying it, but they're trying
mhm,
one game falling off it, going to the next game falling off it. All of those games उनको अच्छे recommendation दो, they'll already probably know it, है ना, उन्होंने try
mhm,
तो किया ही होगा if you're into it, and if you're into it enough to be burned out of it, burned out by it, तो
mhm,
you know enough games and you understand. मुझे लगता है काफ़ी बारी
mhm,
maybe you just need to see credits on a game. कभी कभी होता है ना, you start a game and you finish it in like 1 or 2 sittings, तो एक फील आता है, ओ शिट आई फिनिश, अब मुझे नेक्स्ट देखना है, लाइक है ना. नाउ यू
mhm,
एक्चुअली अदरवाइज यू, अरे मैं इससे बोर हो गया, मे बी देयर इज समथिंग एल्स, उसके जगह इफ यू फिनिश समथिंग, ओ शिट ये मजा आया, तो यू विल गो टू द नेक्स्ट वन विद अ बेटर माइंडसेट इवन. तो यूजुअली आई
mhm.
रिकमेंड लाइक अ स्मॉलर गेम, एडिथ फिंच मे बी, और इवन समथिंग लाइक अ वुल्फेनस्टाइन और अ गुड कॉल ऑफ ड्यूटी कैंपेन जो 6-7 घंटे में खत्म
अच्छा,
हो जाए.
if he or she plays Edith Finch, after that experience, he would either start playing more games or stop playing games altogether. Like that's the
Absolutely.
kind of experience Edith Finch is.
चलो एडिथ फिंच थोड़ा सा एक्सट्रीम एग्जांपल, बट आल्सो इट्स समथिंग दैट विल हुक यू, नहीं कि शिट लाइक आई डोंट वांट टू स्टॉप प्लेइंग मिडवे एंड इट एंड्स फेयरली क्विकली. कॉल ऑफ ड्यूटी के कैंपेन्स में मुझे लगता है समटाइम्स दे सर्व वैसा एक सिमिलर पर्पस, और इवन अ वुल्फेनस्टाइन व्हिच हैज लाइक दोस इनसेन मोमेंट्स इन बिटवीन, लाइक आई मीन नो स्पॉयलर्स दो आई, like वुल्फेनस्टाइन 2 has some great moments man बीच बीच
Absolutely.
में,
Yeah.
जो मतलब you won't stop like if you start something like that. And
Wolfenstein to the New Blood you're talking about, is it?
न्यू
Or
कोलोसस,
New
just
Colossus.
न्यू
New
कोलोसस
Colossus?
ना.
Sorry.
या
Yeah, New Blood.
वैसे ना वैसा कुछ आई थिंक आई वुड रिकमेंड समथिंग थोड़ा स्मॉलर. हे ट्राई टू पिक मे बी आई वुड गिव लाइक 5 games जो 4 घंटे में खत्म हो जाएंगे. पिक वन, ट्राई टू फिनिश इट, अगर मजा आ गया बाय द टाइम, तो देन यू मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन विद अ बेटर माइंडसेट ना. लाइक आई वुड ऑल्सो रिकमेंड मे बी टेक अ ब्रेक, बट चक्कर है कि दैट रिकमेंडेशन हैज नेवर वर्क फॉर मी. लाइक मैंने बहुत बार ट्राई भी किया यार, मैं एक काम करता हूँ, मैं एक हफ्ते कुछ नहीं खेलूंगा, मूवी देखूंगा, बुक वुक पढ़ूंगा, आई विल डू दैट.
Mm.
if I'm not interested in games, I'm probably not interested in other things also. Like मेरा mind is not in the position to be really entertained. तो मुझे लगता है उससे अच्छा है कि एक अच्छा गेम. Hey man, Super Seducer 3 खत्म करने में बड़ा मजा आया मुझे. Unfortunately, Steam is not allowing that game to be released to
Ah,
everybody else. But otherwise, I would have
Oh man.
recommended that also. So it's an
I'll
idiotic game.
just add,
Mm.
like, two things to to what Manas said. I absolutely agree with him, and especially regarding that, what has happened is, uh, I have fallen off certain games, and I have tried going back to them. I have tried completing them, and then I've fallen back again. And sometimes what happened is that a game has clicked, and I've completed it and all that.
Yeah,
So in terms of that, I feel it's more about the mindset that you are in at a one point of time, regarding a particular thing. And also, the other thing that is there, that completing a game, and getting to the credits and everything, it's almost sometimes feels cathartic, like, oh, I have done something, and it's worthwhile. So that kind of feeling is also good.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. एक अच्छा स्टोरी खत्म करना,
Yeah.
seeing credits does feel good.
Mm. And I will say this, like both in both situations that we talked about, the examples that I gave you, I think it's very important to understand, like as a 19-year-old, like if you're growing up and if you're going through that phase, it's completely normal for you to find different hobbies, because obviously
Hmm.
you are at a position where you're exploring more, you're meeting new things, you're doing new things. So it's completely fair for you to find something new that you like instead of video games. I spent most of my college life, I played video games too, but I spent most of my college life probably on a volleyball field or a cricket field or a soccer field, because that was the things I was exposed to that time, and I like made use of it of that time. So, and on the 36 or the 32 30 plus year old scale, I would say that I think more often than not, it's the part that Sushir mentioned, that you don't get that much time
Yeah,
to play that game in a single sitting, and that kind of eats you up, and it kind of works in your mind that I'm not able to enjoy that game for 1 hour or 2 hour. In
yeah,
that sense, I think Manas's advice of like trying smaller games or being very respectful of your time, of doing stuff, even in an open world game, you're thinking like, okay, I'm going to do two missions in the next 1 hour that I'm playing, and then I'm going to come back. Like set manageable goals in a game
yeah,
that you're
yeah,
playing, and you'll get it. Just like work, just like your office work, do the same thing, and you'll find enjoyment there. So I think it has a lot of to do with the phase of mind that you are in as well.
yeah,
When you are, and it's completely okay to follow that bridge a little bit of time. There are times with me when I'm not making any progress anywhere. Yeah, and so I think that's completely okay to have from time to time.
yeah. नहीं इवन लाइक आई थिंक उसका एक और आई जस्ट ऐड लाइक आई फील कि लाइक अ स्मॉल गेम विद अ टाइट स्टोरी or like a tighter experience, and like a massive open world game sprawling and you can just be lost in there for like hundreds of hours. Something like The Last of Us 2 is like the perfect like mid ground. It has
Right.
like 30 hours जो मुश्किल है करना honestly, like 30. मैं उसका स्टोरी वाइज वैसे नहीं कह रहा हूँ, जस्ट द ओवरऑल स्ट्रक्चर एंड फॉर्मूला एंड द पेसिंग ऑफ इट ना, लाइक अनचार्टेड आई फील कि अनचार्टेड इज ईजियर टू डू बिकॉज इट्स स्मॉलर ना, तो इट्स ईजियर टू हैव लाइक अ रोलर कोस्टर दैट इज 8 hours 15 hours long. Call of Duty does it like every year.
Mhm.
लेकिन
But you're going down that street on that jeep with no brakes is an
yeah, yeah,
experience.
है ना,
Like getting like watching in the trailer, you feel it's like a cutscene. It's cutscene material. But when you
yeah.
understand that you are in control of that jeep, it's a
Yeah,
different
that
feeling.
it's insane. And like उसमें अनचार्टेड में मुझे ऐसा लगता है like when will you pause, when do you pause and go away, because अगर एक्शन
Yeah.
नहीं चल रहा है तो like some interesting exploration and you're also taking a breath when the action winds down, it is giving you a moment to take a deep breath, बट तुम्हारे माइंड में वो एक्शन अभी भी एंड यू नो कि समथिंग लाइक दैट इज कमिंग अप नेक्स्ट. बट लाइक उसका थोड़ा सा लाइक थोड़ा मोर एम्बिशियस वर्जन है समथिंग लाइक द लास्ट ऑफ अस 2, जिसमें द स्टोरी इज इंटरेस्टिंग फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग इटसेल्फ, बट द पेस ऑफ इट एंड लाइक 30, आई मीन होल्डिंग योर इंटरेस्ट फॉर 30 hours आई फेल्ट की वॉज लाइक अ रियल अचीवमेंट लास्ट ऑफ अस 2 का. इट इज़ वेरी टफ उतने लंबे टाइम के लिए उतना वेराइटी प्रोवाइड कर पाना, स्पेशली गोइंग टू द सेकेंड हाफ. लाइक समथिंग लाइक द लास्ट ऑफ अस 2 इज वेयर आई फील like games should aim for that. But of course, I don't know how you would do that in open world. But Last of Us does have an open area wala section. They do try to do a middle ground of Last of Us feels like yeah, they tried their hand at the best of everything. The best of what an open world game is, the best of what a horror game is, the best of what emotional aspects of a game is. Amazing shooting, some insanely good exploration where you're rambling through buildings, like these massive ass buildings. क्या बोलते हैं, stealth वाले segments है, action वाले set pieces, those are also there. Like it's a amalgamation of some very good stuff. Of course, they can't attempt something like Disco Elysium भी नहीं घुसा पाए वो बीच में, which I feel is unfortunate, क्योंकि वहाँ से भी एक snippet ले लेते तो it would be like almost perfect, ना कि the best of video game वाला ना, like वो क्या बोलते हैं greatest hits collection जैसा बन के आ सकता, but still like and I think maybe somebody getting absolutely burned out trying something like that which gives you no place to really stop,
Right.
also really helps.
Sushir,
Yeah.
any parting words?
My parting words are that if you're burned out of video games, play some more video games. That's all I can say.
Some other video.
Yeah. It's
The suffering should not stop.
yeah, it should not stop ever. You know, there is always something new. And especially something that is very different from now. And especially when I started playing video games, was that there were not that many video games out there when I started off. Like you already, you have to pick from like maybe 5 or 6 video games, and get off with one. And nowadays, I think it's also that I'm spoiled of choice. I'm like scrolling through hundreds of video games, and I'm like, I don't think of playing any. What is happening to me? And
What
that
do I
is,
play?
what do I play? And I think we're spoiled of choice, and that also plays out into the psyche of how we perceive them. So regarding that, it's just that people are making great stuff. People are making great games. There's some really good things out there. You just have to find the right one. That's like regarding life and everything. That's the same with video games. Yeah.
So it's as good as finding a wife for you now, a wife or husband for you. You have to
Absolutely.
find that one in this millions of people. And now you have to find
And
that one
and the
game.
good thing about video games is that society does not want you to choose only one. And it's like you can go ahead and choose as many as you want. There can be
You
multiple
can
ones
try
for
as
you.
many as you
Yeah,
want.
absolutely. So
अभी जो सुशीर ने जो अभी बोला, which reminded me of like you saying ना, like having a list like Steam में, yeah, you have too many games, man. Like I think that is also a problem. इतने सारे options है, which one do you pick, and you end up picking nothing, or you end up jumping from one to the next
right.
without enjoying. I remember इसके like you saying that just gave me flashback. Like पीछे you see this, इसमें ना नीचे like नीचे भी drawers है नीचे, ठीक है. तो there was a time I think like maybe 6-7 years ago, PS3 उस time में नहीं, more than 7 years ago then, like 8-9 years ago, I had gotten a PS3 and मैं फिर second hand market से मैंने like भर के games के CDs खरीदे थे. I think like spent too much on it, like around 150-200 games I bought वो disc, and नीचे drawer भर दिया मैंने. And then what I would do is starting में I had like 2-3 games. Uncharted लिया मैंने, Demon Souls लिया, and I finished, enjoyed all of it. Once I started buying so many games, there would be times when I would open that drawer and मैं just देखता रहता, what do I play? And my brother would come and make fun of it. भाई life is so tough, नहीं क्या खेलें इतने सारे games, which do you pick? Because he knew that was he was very specific in what he wanted. He would pick a Mass Effect and play it and not look at like 10 other games. I would look at everything. And so like I think that is maybe a way a problem जो that also fix के ना, maybe limit your options. Sometimes just limit के ना, like मुझे is maybe hey, very like
One
क्या बोलते हैं
install.
उसे?
That's my rule. Like
yeah, one or
one
two
install
installs.
and work on that
ये भी
one
मैंने
game.
ट्राई किया है वैसे. आई हैव ट्राइड दिस आल्सो. स्टीम से सब हटाओ यार, साला मैंने क्यों 20 गेम इंस्टॉल कर रखे, खेल तो कुछ भी नहीं रहा हूं. ट्राई अनइंस्टॉलिंग एवरीथिंग. या आई थिंक लिमिटिंग योर ऑप्शंस थोड़ा सा क्या बोलते हैं, सेलिंग इट अ लिटिल शॉर्ट कि ना, जस्ट गो बाय द स्कोर मे बी समटाइम्स. लुक एट एन 95 प्लस वाले स्कोर वाला गेम, क्योंकि आई एम श्योर कि देयर आर लाइक हंड्रेड्स ऑफ गेम्स विद 90 प्लस स्कोर. दैट न्यू वेगस कभी नहीं खेला ना, डिलीट एवरीथिंग एल्स, प्ले दैट मे बी, जस्ट फोर्स
Very
योरसेल्फ.
good game, by the way.
Yeah, damn good game वैसे. Also now तो अब तो गेम पास पे भी आ गया ना, like on the only on console, but find a way to play it, or find any other game, man. So
Only
many
on
good
console?
games.
New Vegas is on the consoles, huh? No, only on PC.
Game Pass पे only on console.
For now.
Okay.
Yeah, for now. I think पता नहीं what's the reason is.
But New Vegas is not on the PlayStation.
No.
That game.
No,
4
not
पे
on,
तो
not
नहीं
on
है.
4.
3 पे है. But yeah, that's another issue. Limit your options, man. वो भी it's a real problem. I think limit your options is the problem when you get a job. उससे पहले वो problem usually आता नहीं. It's once you have a job and you भर देते हो games and then you make double problem.
Yeah, I can
You
just
have more options, less
imagine
time.
Manas like opening the drawer on a chair and like hand on his head and is
अरे
looking at this game. thinking
अरे
about it.
मैं सही में थोड़ा परेशान क्या खेलूं यार. एंड माय ब्रदर वुड जेन्युइनली सी मेरा परेशान शक्ल कि ड्यूड लाइक हाउ इज दिस अ प्रॉब्लम फॉर यू. साला तू पिक क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे. दैट वुड बी हिज लाइक लाइन टू मी. बट या